This video is about the pros of living here in Tucson. Stick to the very end because the very last point is what surprised me the most, and it's actually my favorite pro of Tucson. You'll see. My name is Ali Garced. I am a real estate agent here in Tucson, Arizona, and I was making these videos one-on-one, setting them out to my clients who were moving to Tucson, and I was helping them buy and sell here in Tucson, and I figured I would make these videos and post them publicly to help you also know what it's like to live in Tucson, purchase real estate in Tucson, and everything else. I make these videos in hopes that you do reach out to me because that's the only way that I can help you is by you contacting me so I can help you get started on the home buying process. I do this all day, every single day, and I absolutely love it. So go ahead and text me, especially once you know that Tucson is the next city that you're gonna be moving to. I'm here to help you narrow down which part of Tucson, which area of Tucson is best for you, your family, your kids, if you have any, your lifestyle, all the things. Because Tucson is so big, and I personally have lived in 8 different areas of Tucson, and I know that in each of those 8 different areas, you can have such a different opinion of Tucson, so I don't want you to make the wrong choice. Reach out to me, and let's get the process started. Pros of living in Tucson, number 1 is no mosquitoes. We don't have any mosquitoes, which is so nice. Whenever you travel elsewhere, you'll be reminded that mosquitoes are so annoying. Oh, I recently went to North Carolina and I was like, what is this? So of course, like we don't really have mosquitoes. We don't really have humidity. Of course, we're in the desert. So I have to say that. Very plain and short, no mosquitoes. You don't have to look like a bruised and battered person because all the mosquitoes just bite you all over the place. Your skin can be smooth. Number 2 is the warm winters. It's currently the middle of December right now, and I just walked outside in a short sleeve shirt, not shorts. I was wearing sweatpants. I am wearing sweatpants still, but it's still nice out. So the warm winters are super nice. That's not to say though that we don't get snow. We actually do get snowfall. But overall, November, December, it's still short sleeve shirt weather. In the daytime, at nighttime, you will need a jacket. And because of the nice weather that we have, golf, if you are a golfer, this is the perfect area for you because we have golf courses pretty much everywhere and you're not restricted to just golfing in the summer. Number 3 are the sunsets. Actually, maybe more than just the sunsets, the mountain views altogether, especially, the sunset with the mountain views. It's just gorgeous, especially if you like the mountains. I definitely know that there are some people that are a lot more beach people, and actually that's me, more beach people than mountains, but you have to admit these mountains look really nice, especially when the sun is setting. And when it rains, whenever we have monsoon season, which is like pretty much the end of summer, we tend to have so many rainbows. After every rain, we have rainbows like popping up just like left and right. It's super cool that sometimes after the rain, you'll kind of just look up in the sky and you'll see like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 rainbows just all out there. And a lot of those double rainbows too. This is my thing for double rainbows. And going along with the environment are the stars. I'm from New York originally. I did 10 years in the military and that led me to Tucson. And I've never been in a location where I can see the stars so clearly. Well, I guess Kandahar, Afghanistan had really nice stars too. But especially if you go up to Mount Lemmon at night, you can probably see shooting stars every 30 minutes. And that's because Tucson is a really big astronomy city. So therefore we have very little light pollution. A lot of outskirts of Tucson don't allow city lights, because the University of Arizona studies the stars here. And therefore, we all get a better view at night. So even if you're not all the way up at the top of Mount Lemmon, you could see a couple of shooting stars down here as well. You just see a lot more up there. But either way, even just being here in the backyard, stepping out in your soon-to-be backyard, you will eventually see a shooting star. If not, you'll at least see a ton more stars than if you were moving from somewhere like a bigger city. Next up, the desert wildlife is a very interesting one. So we have wild boars, which we call javelinas here, and they travel in packs, and they usually have little babies with them, and they're so cute. Now, they are a protected animal, so you cannot shoot them or you cannot harm them. Not that I would suggest doing that anyway, but I just feel like I have to say that. They will run through your garbage and eat everything. The plastic, the leftover salmon, they'll eat everything. And you can smell them from like a mile away. They smell so bad, but when looking outside through a window, they are so cute. However, I hear they can be dangerous, but also anybody that has ever had encounters like that, they're probably just too close to begin with. Aside from the javelinas, we also have a ton of quail, a ton of roadrunners, a lot of different birds. Don't ask me what types, I'm not a bird person, but a lot of birds. Gila monsters, lizards left and right. And this is, of course, as you start going on the outskirts of Tucson, right? Like you won't find that center Tucson. You will not find that downtown, but the more outskirts you go, especially in the Tanque Verde area, which is the northeast area, you'll find so much wildlife there. It's beautiful. One time I woke up when I was living in the northeast part in Tanque Verde. I woke up one time and I saw a bobcat chilling on the ledge of like our brick wall, just chilling. So maybe be careful about leaving your cats and dogs outside, especially if your dogs are on the smaller side. But there is a lot of wildlife, especially out that way, more so than I've seen in Vail, more so than I've seen in Sahuarita, and more than I've seen in Marana as well. Also, Tucson consistently ranks within the top 5 cities to retire in, which probably isn't a surprise to you, but I was actually surprised that it was one of the top 5 cities. I think that's pretty cool. I would have thought that they were all in Florida. I don't know, but it's usually within the top 5 cities. And again, the main 55 plus communities are not so much in central Tucson. They're more so up north in Saddlebrook or down south of Sahuarita in an area called Green Valley. By the way, these are all areas that I cover. So once you know that you're interested in purchasing, whether or not you have already spoken to a lender yet, I can connect you to one. I would love to get the process started. Because the more that I could educate you about what it's like to live in Tucson and which area and we explore together, then the more you feel comfortable in making the right choice. And I'm not sure if this is actually would be considered a pro because we're just above it. But when it comes to the average salary nationwide, Tucson is like 4% higher than the national average. So we're kind of like following the trends there, but at least we're a little bit in the green there. And the big employers that we have here are Raytheon, the University of Arizona. Again, University of Arizona, central Tucson, especially more a little bit downtown. They're like on First, Blackledge area, a little bit south of that. Raytheon is also down south. So there are a ton of engineers here in Tucson. There are a lot of nurses and medical professionals as well, because we have like 16 plus medical facilities, emergency rooms, clinics. So Banner is really big here. Tucson Medical Center is really big here. St. Joe's, we have a ton. So if you're actually a landlord looking to purchase a short-term rental, this is a pretty lucrative spot for it, especially since not a lot of HOAs have very restrictive policies against short-term rentals. Now, I'm not saying none of them do, but a lot of them don't. And as of now, there isn't a lot of regulation against owning short-term rentals. And then, of course, we also have Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, one of the military installations here in Pima County. We have Fort Huachuca down south too for more Army, but we have a lot of Air Force professionals here and civilians that work with the base. And in case you didn't know, I was active duty for a decade. I went from being a special agent with the Office of Special Investigations in the Air Force to being a real estate agent, and I love what I do now. I liked what I did then too. It was different work. But that's what actually led me to Tucson. And because I had such a job that was demanding and very travel intensive, I never really found one solid place to live, hence me living in 8 different areas just in Tucson alone. It was a lot, but I was always out the door. I was always working in South and Central America. But that's besides the point. I am a real estate agent now, here for you, and helping military members that are PCSing to DM, help them find a place to live. Some other big employers are Caterpillar and Texas Instruments, and of course, city and county jobs. And when you think of city and county jobs, typically they're on Stone Avenue. So whenever you hear of Stone, that's downtown. That's where all like the courts are. Next up on the pro of living in Tucson is, of course, the Mexican food. I have to acknowledge that it is good. I will say not every place is good. Doesn't mean that just because it's a Mexican spot here in Tucson, that means that it's authentic, and doesn't mean that it's like good. Sometimes they're super high priced, but sometimes they are great food, authentic, and at an amazing price. I have to give a shout out to Juanitos. You have to check out Juanitos. Another pro of living in Tucson is honestly that our traffic is not that bad. It's actually not bad at all. Yes, there is construction. I'm not saying we don't have construction. Yes, that's annoying. But when it comes to actual traffic, like traffic, we don't really have that much. What we do have a lot of are red lights, because we only have one highway in all of Tucson, and that's all the way on the west side of town. So if you live on the east side of town, then yes, you're gonna be hitting every single red light as you get to the highway. It might take you 45 minutes just to get from the east side to the west side to then get on the highway and go either north up to Phoenix or south down to Sahuarita, Vail, etc. But overall, like bumper to bumper traffic, we don't have that here in Tucson. So Big thumbs up there. And the last pro of living in Tucson is that cops don't actually pull people over all that much. Now, I know how that sounds. That sounds really bad. And I'm not condoning anything illegal ever, but it takes a lot for a cop to pull you over in Tucson. Now, of course, there are definitely cops where people know that they're always stationed at, but overall, for kind of like stupidities, cops don't really pull people over. Now, that could also be flipped and be a con because those cops are overworked on more serious cases. But also back to the pro is that Arizona has a very low tolerance for DUI. So the limits are, I think, lower than in other states, which is a good thing. So for example, if you're younger than 21, if you have kids that are younger than 21 and they are caught with any alcohol in their system, anything higher than 0.00, anything higher than that, that's automatically a DUI. And for adults or anybody over 21, if you are anything above 0.08, that is a DUI. With those come potentially 24 hours to 10 days in jail, as well as 90 days to 1 year of your license being suspended. Again, I think this is a major pro because there are already a lot of traffic accidents in Tucson. We don't need alcohol to be added to any part of that. So those are what I think the biggest pros of living in Tucson are. I would love to hear your thoughts. Shoot me a text if you plan on moving to Tucson. I'm here to help you. If you haven't yet seen the cons of living in Tucson, Arizona, check out that video. See you in the next one.